Good afternoon, friends. So, meeting again at the sharp 2:30 with a new aphorism, and we have to learn a lot. Before that, I want to say sorry to Dr. Chandrakant Bhapkar. Since 2 days, I am not using all those things. I feel very free in the formal dress, and that's why. What happens in my mind? It happens that I'm getting somewhere restricted. I'm not able to open up with everyone because of such a dressing, and that's why I feel quite free and open like a sorik when I'm in a formal dress, and that's why I don't want to be a professional. I am a man. I am a human being. I want to remain a human being. So, first of all, a short revision regarding the first aphorism will do. We have learned a single aphorism, and we have learned it by learning everything about the organon throughout the first aphorism. So we have learned each and every word of the first aphorism. The physician's high and only mission is to restore the sick to health, to cure, as it is termed. And every word we have understood by heart, including what do you understand by health, what do you understand by the sickness, what do you understand by term cure, how restoration happens, why Hahnemann used the terminology physician, and why the mission and high and only mission. And last part we have elaborated a lot, that is as it is termed, because that was nothing but the understanding of the whole homeopathy, and that is what is called as cardinal principles of homeopathy, along with Hering's law of direction of cure. And we have finished with the footnote also, the criticism against the modern science and the science to which Hahnemann, being a member of same science, he has criticized by labeling it as a theoretic medicine, and he explains over there the importance of practical homeopathic science, which is used on the basis of symptom similarity. So that's in short the revision of the first aphorism. Today we are going to turn towards the second aphorism. And what happens whenever we learn the organ of medicine, we used to learn only we used to mug it up the second aphorism. That is, the highest ideal of cure is rapid, gentle, permanent restoration of the health, or removal or annihilation of the disease in its whole extent in the shortest, most reliable, most harmless way, on easily comprehensible principles. And everyone feels happy, yes, they understand this is the definition. In fact, this is not the definition of a cure. This is this is very important to understand. This is not the definition of a cure. This is what is highest ideal of cure. Ideal, what do you understand by ideal? Ideal म्हणजे कल्पनातीत, आपल्या कल्पनेत असलेला क्युअर म्हणजे काय, हे समजणं फार महत्त्वाचं आहे. दिस इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट टू अंडरस्टँड व्हॉट इज देअर इन युअर थॉट्स, इन युअर माइंड, इन युअर आयडिया, हाऊ what cure you can label it as an ideal. This is what one must understand. It doesn't mean that cure should be. It is cure is. Highest ideal of cure is. It is very ideal. This is ideal. Very difficult to achieve that. Very difficult. When you deal with the chronic cases, it is very difficult. But still, your mind should run towards the ideal. It should think about the ideal. So there is always an ideal to you. Someone is ideal for you. So you think that you must reach to that ideal. So in homeopathy, you must have an ideal that you should be like Dr. Prasad Rasala. Am I right? It might be. But this is the ideal. It doesn't mean that you will going to become like that, or you can do more than that. You don't know. This is ideal thought. This is one thing which should be there in your mind. So cure how cure should be is not like that. How cure happens, ideal cure happens. And then he explains the highest ideal of cure. कसा असला पाहिजे, how it should be. It's rapid. Rapid म्हणजे लवकर होणारा. It should be a rapid, it should be a fast. Homeopathy is always blamed that homeopathy is very slow in action. एक जोक केला जातो होमिओपॅथीला, आणि तो जोक असा आहे की मी लहान होतो तेव्हा होमिओपॅथीची ट्रीटमेंट चालू केली, म्हातारा झालो तेव्हा बरा झालो. They talks in this way. When I started treatment when I was child, and I was cured when I was an old man. This is a blame against homeopathy. And why this happens? This happens because we never achieve cure very fast because of lack of knowledge. Sometimes we have to choose number of remedies in sequence, one remedy after second remedy. We go in a zigzag direction. So first remedy, then again a second remedy, the third remedy, the fourth remedy, fifth remedy, and somehow you get a cure. And because of which it takes long time to get result, and this ultimately reflected in people's mind that homeopathy is slow in action. It is not like that. In acutes, it should deal very fast. I have multiple examples that it happens so rapid. There was one patient who came to me for a right ureteric calculi. In fact, he was admitted in one of the hospital in Sangamner. Then that in that hospital he received the hydrotherapy for 3 days, but he was suffering from a pain, not getting settled. Then he was shifted to Nasik, and one urologist hospital. He tried to use a uroscope and nothing happened, that it never came up. And again the hydrotherapy was tried, he was not getting the result, and he was suffering a lot. One of my patient went to meet him at that time. He was his friend. So he saw his condition. He asked, let us take a discharge. They have taken against medical advice discharge. They have taken one painkiller injection over there and directly came to Sangamner. And this fellow, I have taken the case, and during case taking he was explaining, and he has explained clear-cut lycopodium. It was clear-cut lycopodium the way he has explained. So I was damn sure about lycopodium. I prepared one dose, put it in patient's mouth, and I was preparing second dose. When I put it in patient's mouth, within a 10 seconds, 15 seconds, he asked me, doctor, shall I go for urination? There is an urge. He went for urination and brought the stone along with him. This is called as a rapid. This works so nicely, so fast. So this type of cure sometimes you get. In practice it is not possible always, but these are the miracles which can happen only with the homeopathy. So this is what is expected from the patient, from your treatment. So it should be rapid. One more case I want to share with you. It's very good case. One of the fellow who came to me with asthma trouble, and it is from Satral. It is around 40 kilometers from Sangamner, 40-45. And one of the day he came to me. He was a politician. I have taken his case. He has explained everything regarding his life. I put one question at the end of 1 hour. I asked him to stop. I understood your case, and it was the case of asthma. So naturally, he was too loquacious. He was loquacious with jesting, everything. I found remedy lachesis. I prescribed lachesis for him. After giving lachesis, his asthma was totally in control. Even he stopped taking the inhalers, everything. He was only on placebos at that time. And after a period of 3 weeks, he called me, doctor, I am having very severe coryza since morning. And literally it is just watering and sneezing. He talked, माझे 4 रुमाल भरले सकाळपासून, डॉक्टर मला तुम्हाला काही करून आत्ता पाहावं लागेल. यू मस्ट सी टुडे बिकॉज इट इज डेंजरस फॉर मी. And he was in a agony, and he came. Yes, I said, yes, do come. So he said, I will. It will take 45 minutes or 1 hour to reach to your clinic. I said, okay, no problem. And after 1 hour, he was there with my clinic. It's my old clinic at my hospital. It is in case in 1994, most probably. And he sat in front of me. And he said, doctor, I could not understand. I was suffering a lot, and now nothing is there. And the way he said that, again it started running his nose and watering from the eyes and lot of sneezing and everything. So my remedy was very clear. So when he was in his house, he was suffering. When he was in open air, it was better. And when again he enters inside the room in my clinic, again it started. It is associated with lacrimation, with lot of watering, lot of sneezing, very clear cut. I have given him Allium Cepa. I put the dose of Allium Cepa in his mouth. And when I put it inside his mouth, after 10 seconds to 15 seconds, he said, doctor, jadoo dhali. What a miracle. And thereafter he was there talking with me for another half an hour, and he doesn't have a sneeze, he doesn't have a watering, he doesn't have lacrimation, nothing. It worked at that specific moment with Allium Cepa. This is what is there in homeopathy. This potential is there with homeopathy, but here you have to choose very perfect similimum in perfect potency. So it should be rapid. That is what he is saying, that first is rapid. Second word he has used rapid, gentle. Gentle is very important. What is gentle? Gentle means without causing any trouble to the patient, without producing any harm to the patient. It happens so nicely, so beautifully. The patient never understands when the cure have taken place. That is very important. It is too important to understand. So basically gentle. So whenever you take any allopathic medicine, for example, you are suffering from the same disease, that acute coryza, acute rhinitis with lot of sneezing and everything, and they takes medicine, decongestant as well as anti-allergic. Sometimes they takes along with that a steroid. And what happens? After 1 hour, when it starts working, patient feels a little bit better because his sneezing is stopped, but now he started getting burning in his chest or burning in his stomach. So what has happened? Ultimately, it has produced its own problem under the primary action, and it produced disturbance with the patient. So one thing is cleared, another thing is happened, and this is quite common. And that's why Hahnemann says, when you are dealing with the patient with the help of homeopathic medicine, it should be gentle without causing such types of trouble. And it happens when you treat the acutes. It happens so beautifully, so nicely. Patient never understands when his headache has stopped, when fever disappeared, everything. And same should happen when you deal with the chronics. But it is not so simple with chronics. Yes, chronics, it is not always the gentle. Little bit trouble is always there with the chronics. So, rapid, gentle and permanent. Third word is very important. It should not be like that its half-life is 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, and after 6 hours you have to repeat the medicine so that there will be another 6 hours patient will be better. It's not like that. If your similimum works, if it stimulates the patient on the path of recovery, finished. Recovery has been started and there is no more recurrence. And this should happen in that way. Generally, in acute, this happens so fast, and Hahnemann says, whenever this happens so fast, follow it with the proper antisoric and there will be a permanent restoration. So there will be no recurrence of the complaints. I have told on that day while discussing the sulfur is always applied that after any acute disease. And for what purpose? I have told that it is for, in modern way, you can think it is the remedy for resolution process should take place. So sulfur works in that way. Being an antisoric, it prevents the recurrence. In such weather, warm weather or hot summer weather, you must think about tuberculinum or bacillinum to give to the patients who are suffering from recurrent URTI or LRTI in order to prevent the recurrence so that the permanent restoration can happen. See, this is what is understanding of the ideal cure. You must think how it must be, but this is not always, but these are the way which should be there in your mind, in your thought, in your idea. Then he says permanent restoration of the health, that already we have discussed what is health in last lecture. So bringing back that patient into activity as before, he should be able to function everything. This is first part of the ideal cure which he has mentioned. Or another thing he mentions, or removal or annihilation of the disease in its whole extent. Removal or annihilation. Annihilation म्हणजे काय? Annihilation means removing the disease from its root. Annihilation of the disease. So removal or annihilation of the disease in its whole extent, everything should disappear. What is root and where is the root? This is too important to understand. So for example, a patient who comes to you with a migraine and you have chosen a remedy. He was suffering from severe left-sided headache. He comes to you. It has started on occipital region and gained forward and it settles with the left eye, and it was so severe that it is associated with severe pain in the eye also. Then there is a palpitation also, and patient was suffering in a trouble. He doesn't want a light, everything. It's an acute attack of left-sided migraine. So what you will choose? You will choose definitely a Spigellia, and Spigellia brings out immediate result. He settles over that Spigellia, and after getting settling with the Spigellia, what one should do? He should not keep, yes, Spigellia has cured, give a medicine with patient, and every time he has the headache he should take the Spigellia. It is not like that. It is a state with which patient has come to you. It is not always that he will have a Spigellia state again and again. Keep this in your mind. It might be Spigellia for a time, another time it might be a belladonna, sometimes it might be a McPhos, sometimes it might be a colocin, sometimes it might be a natrium muriaticum also. A variable. A state is not fixed always. It depends upon situation, it depends upon that individual, it depends upon miasmatic pore, it depends upon the environment, and that's why the state will not going to come again and again with the same remedy. So after treating that state, what is needed is nothing but to give a remedy which covers the whole constitution, whole miasm, the whole human being, which will remove that miasm. That is what is called as a root. Right from the root. Root is there in the miasm. Unless and until you treat that root, patient will not going to get a permanent restoration. So annihilation of the disease in its whole extent. This is what he wants to explain. So you should not, whenever you are treating the patient with the states, always think in your mind, when you are treating it in this way, always treat the root also. And that's why it is needed that treating a patient at the level of state is different, and giving a constitutional or based upon the knowledge of a miasm is different. Both works at a different level. One works at the state with which patient appears or expresses in front of you at that specific time. That remedy is based upon that. But when it has been covered, it should be treated in order to remove this specific entity from the patient forever. And that's why one must think that it should be removed from its root, means from the miasmatic force. See, this is too important to understand. So it is not just reading a definition or reading it and leaving it. You have to understand every word. So removal or annihilation of the disease in its whole extent in the shortest, that already we have discussed. as early as possible. Shortest means as early as possible. It is not fixed that it should be within moment. Basically, when you deal with the chronic, this word is applicable. In chronics, it is shortest means as early as possible. Sometimes it takes little bit time, but as early as possible is very important. Patient comes to you with a chronic asthma suffering from last 10 years, 15 years, and he asks you homeopathic medicine. And patient tells you, doctor, पटकन बरं झालं पाहिजे, उद्याच्या उद्या बरं झालं पाहिजे, आता खूप त्रासलोय मी. You tell him that it is not possible. If you want such type of result, go to a magician. In chronic diseases, this is not possible to get cured very easily, very fast. Yes, it takes little bit time. Tell him as early as possible, but it is not that it will be better within a day, because it's already a chronic disease. So it is applicable to the chronic disease. Upper part, first part is applicable to the acute disease, that is rapid, gentle and permanent restoration of the health, that is to the applicable to the acute diseases. And this second part, after or, is related with the basically with chronic complaints. So removing it from the extent or right from the root, then in the shortest, most reliable. Why most reliable? Most reliable. To whom you will going to rely? Reliable is the word which is utilized for the medicines which are reliable. Why they are reliable? They are reliable because they are proved on healthy human beings. Before prescribing, we know them. You believe on only those who are reliable. And how person becomes reliable? Because you know them. Same is true with your medicines. You are treating patients with the help of reliable medicines. You are not using it that you have used it first in the animals and applying on human being, considering him as an animal. It is not the theme with which you are approaching. You are dealing, you understand whole remedies or all medicines from every aspect. They are proved on healthy human beings in different potencies, at a different places, different times, in both sexes, and basically at subjective as well as objective level. Basically it's subjective level. And that's why you know each and everything what will going to happen after prescribing the remedy, because you know the remedy properly. And that's why homeopathic medicines, when you used in homeopathy, they are most reliable medicines. So this is one should not forget, that though no one understands it is reliable, what is reliable or why it is called that most reliable. These are most reliable only because they are, you know them properly. That's why they are more reliable. So think about whenever you are reading the aphorisms, why he has used specific words, what he wants to say behind it is very important. Most reliable way and most harmless way, that is again an important thing. Gentle, already we have discussed. Gentle means it is same thing, most harmless, without causing any trouble to the patient. So most harmless, even though you go on changing the remedy, it should not harm the patient. Generally, the things happens in modern science. They treat for rheumatology and patient develops GI troubles. They treat for GI troubles, patient might develop renal problems. This is the thing which happens with the modern science. But it never happens with homeopathy. If you choose very proper simillimum, if you utilize them in a proper manner, in a proper potency, with a proper repetition, then such type of things never happen. But keep it in your mind. Homeopathic medicines, if not utilized in a proper manner or not understood proper manner and repeated frequently without knowing the depth of that remedy, can produce a harm. Yes, it is very less as compared to the modern science, because it is given in dilutions, or basically it is given in potentized form. So that's why the harm is not so severe, but it can. There was one practitioner who used to prescribe Basilinum 1m daily for 1 month together. And what happens? Patient who was not suffering from anything or any entity can suffer because of continuous utilization of a nosode for months together. Such a thing should not happen. This aspect is there in Hahnemann's mind. So every time, whenever he is explaining anything, he explains that how it should be done. See, every time he gives reference, most harmless way, on easily comprehensible principles. This is very important. So when you are prescribing such a remedy to the patient, it should be based upon easily comprehensible principles. What is the word meaning of a comprehensible? Comprehensible शब्दाचा अर्थ म्हणजे की जे कोणालाही कळू शकतील, आकलन होऊ शकेल, very easily understandable are comprehensible principles. And if you already, we have discussed for 4 days the only cardinal principles of homeopathy. We have studied all those: law of similia, law of simplex, law of minimum dose, the doctrine of vital force, the doctrine of drug proving, doctrine of drug dynamization, and doctrine of chronic diseases. All those cardinal principles, according to them only, if you treat patient and if you achieve such type of cure, that can be called as a ideal of a cure. So this is too important to understand this aspect of the aphorism. And Hahnemann never said that it is always like that or it should be like that. This is the ideal should be there in your mind. You must expect such types of things in your mind, because when you follow something, you always follow the ideals, and this is ideal for you. Not every time this ideal can be achieved. So there is different thing. Ideal is a thought, practical is nothing but the reality. Reality is not always an ideal, but with ideal we can lead towards the with the ideal, with the help of practical, we can lead towards the ideal. And that's why Hahnemann have specifically mentioned that highest ideal cure, how it should be. So see, in the first aphorism, when he has explained mission. And what mission? Restoration of the sick to health, to cure. So he expected that. Then he defines what exactly he wants to, if he want to achieve that mission, how the cure should be. Second aphorism is mentioned for that purpose. See the sequence. So first a mission, followed by defining the mission. And now when he turns towards the third aphorism, in order to achieve that mission, in order to achieve that cure, how the physician should be. See, this is very important to understand. This one should not forget. The sequence logically which he has utilized, converting the different editions, coming from first edition to sixth edition, by revising them again and again, making or trying his level best to make it very sequential, is the Hahnemann. Kent is like that. You can watch the 2 photographs behind me. In fact, 3. One is always there behind me. That is the god of knowledge, goddess of knowledge, in fact, Saraswati. Along with first Hahnemann and second Dr. J.T. Kent. I respect them for their thoughts, for their ideals, for their work. Same is true with Dr. J.T. Kent. If you go and find it out how this man without a computer was able to make a repertory, keeping a sequence throughout everywhere, it is very, very, very difficult task. And he has maintained throughout the repertory without having the help of any computer. See how much hard work he has done. This is what is Hahnemann and Dr. J.T. Kent. at least they are ideal for us, and we should lead towards that ideal with the help of our knowledge, with the help of all the modern things which are with us. We are very lucky that we have computers, we have everything in our hand, we have number of people to teach. There were no one with them to teach. We are having such types of teachers, lot of teachers from, and everyone carries their own characteristics. So students of homeopathy in a modern era are very lucky that they can achieve much more than Hahnemann and Kent if they study homeopathy in that depth. And this is what I expect from all of my students, that they should achieve much more than me, much more than Hahnemann, much more than J.T. Kent, if they really utilizes their intellect in the understanding the organon, materia medica, repertory, and the human being, and everything in the medicine. Now we'll turn towards the understanding of third aphorism. Third aphorism, understanding the third aphorism is nothing but you are understanding the whole organon. And that's why third aphorism is also called as miniature of the organon of medicine. This is too important. In fact, when anyone asks me which is the aphorism which is most important for a homeopath to understand, I will suggest that third aphorism is most important. One must not forget, because here he explains how the homeopath should be. What should the qualities of homeopath which are necessary to become a true practitioner of healing art. And for that purpose, he writes every word with a lot of thought behind that. And that's why we have to understand this specific aphorism. In fact, maybe it is possible to finish it today, or maybe we'll continue with it tomorrow. So, first we'll read aphorism sentence by sentence. We'll not read whole aphorism at a time. We'll start with it. What he says: if the physician clearly perceives what is to be cured in diseases. If the physician clearly perceives. What is perceiving? Perceiving means understanding without also a verbal communication. And this quality is there with every intellectual person. This quality is there with every intellectual human being. This quality is there with every homeopath. Only thing is that this is what is perceiving, they don't know. You have observed it number of times. When you observe the other people's, if you come into the class and your friend is sitting over there and friend is sitting like this, you touch them, what has happened? What is wrong with you? She has not talked or uttered a single word, single sentence. You have looked towards her, you have looked towards her attitude, you have looked towards her countenance, you have looked towards her body language, and just by looking towards them, you immediately perceive something. Yes, there is something definitely wrong with your friend. The quality which you have used is nothing but the perceiving. And this quality is necessary in order to take the case of the patient whenever you are dealing with the patient with homeopathy. So very important. See, this is what is one must understand. If the physician clearly perceives what is to be cured in diseases, that is to say, in every individual case of the disease. This is too important to understand. What is to be curable in diseases? This one must understand. Patient comes to you with lot of palpitation, chest pain. He says, "Doctor, my BP is high." You examine everything is okay. If he goes to allopath, they immediately admits him in the ICU, do all investigations, and they know that there is nothing, and they label this is hysterical, and treats them with tranquilizers. When patient remains who was expressing at the functional level, ultimately gradually turns towards some pathology in recent futures. But if this patient comes to you, you observe, you clinically examine the patient, and you observe that there is nothing wrong with his physical problems or pathological problem, then if you deal with the patient, you talk with him, you discuss with him, you understand him, you perceive him, and you can get that there is something problem had happened at their family level. There might be some quarrel between him and parents, and that because of that he is disturbed so much, and it is reflecting in his symptoms, and that's why he is diseased. Now, what should be your role? You have to give a remedy to treat the palpitation, to treat the frightfulness, or to his embarrassment, or whether you have to treat him. You have to understand him. If you are able to understand this has been a result of something happened in life, something has happened at his domestic level, and if you have understood that, you have understood what is curable in the disease, what is exactly the problem, and that you have to understand. This is too important. So he explains over there, that is to say, in every individual case of the disease, and there in bracket two things have been written. You will see and you will say, sir, तिथं तर फक्त एकच दिलंय, knowledge of disease indication. No, my dear friends, there are two things which Hahnemann have explained in that single sentence. There is a comma, and comma plays a very vital role. He has written over there, knowledge of disease, comma, indication. There are two things which are necessary to understand. First is the knowledge of a disease with all its aspects. So it means knowledge of a disease from the medicine point of view, from surgical point of view. If it is gynec case, it is gynecological point of view. If it is obstetric case, it is obstetric point of view. Here you have to understand disease from pathological process. So ultimately you have to come to a specific diagnosis. You should able to come to a very specific diagnosis, from what patient is suffering from. So if a patient comes to you with a pain in right iliac fossa since last 2 days, and it is troubling a patient, associated with vomiting, associated with constipation, associated with fever. So if patient details this, definitely you will going to understand his disease. You will understand that patient is suffering from appendicitis. That is the first part, knowledge of disease. Why it is necessary to diagnose? It is necessary to diagnose only because of that you can understand the prognosis of the disease. If you understand this is because of appendicitis, you must know, or you must have knowledge of complications of appendicitis, that it can lead to a rupture also, producing a ruptured appendix, and ultimately leads towards the shock condition also sometimes. So one must able to understand the prognosis of the disease on the basis of a knowledge of disease. And that's why Hahnemann says that it is not only the knowledge of human being which is necessary, or it is not only the characteristics of human being one must know. He says that every disease you should be thorough enough, clinically as well as pathologically, as well as theoretically, as well as practically, so that you can judge them, and then accordingly you can think about them properly when you treat those patients. So one must know the disease from every angle, everything. This is one part, because it never guides you towards the remedy. It guides you towards understanding the disease, its complications, its further progress, everything, prognosis. You have to find it out remedy, not on this, but you have to find it out remedy on the basis of indication. So every disease expresses or takes the individuality and expresses in the form of indications, which those indicates towards the remedy. So same patient of appendicitis comes to you and explains, doctor, there is severe pain over here in my right iliac fossa, and it is continuously stitching over, doctor. I cannot move. If I put one step, it severely pains. I have to lie on the same side. I have to press it hard, and then I feels better. Otherwise, it stitches a lot. Since yesterday, I have not passed tools. Once I have passed, it was very hard. And he lies. He doesn't want to get disturbed. He lies in one position on right side and pressing it hard. He had a vomiting. He is thirsty, but he is drinking a large quantity of water at a long intervals. Now the patient is same. Now the diagnosis is same. But now he is giving you certain indications with which you can reach to a perfect remedy. This is what one has to understand. Hahnemann never said knowledge of disease. No, it is knowledge of disease, comma, indication. And remedy, as Dr. Sanjay have mentioned over there, it is bryonia. Because how do you get bryonia? Because patient was expressing bryonia with indications of a bryonia. That is the individuality of that patient, so that you have prescribed bryonia. Another patient might require another remedy because his indications will be different, even though the diagnosis is similar. So, indication plays a role in order to understand the individuality of the patient. And first part, knowledge of disease is important in order to diagnose the patient from what he is suffering from. See, this is first important thing when you have to understand the disease and what is curable in disease. So now curable part remains in indication, and first part, what is the disease process. And this knowledge the homeopathic physician should have. So, see, Hahnemann have mentioned it in a proper words using typical comma over there and giving everything in one sentence. See, now we'll go ahead. So, that is to say, in every individual case of the disease, knowledge of disease, comma, indication, comma again, if he clearly pursues what is curative in medicines. So first he has said what is curative in disease. Now he is explaining what is curative in medicines. This is also important. What is there in your medicine which will going to cure? Whether it is a bryonia properties which will go bryonia in its material form which is curative, or it is bryonia whether there are something special of a bryonia which is a bryonia properties without having a bryonia in your medicine which will going to work. See, this is what is curative in your medicines. So when there is a difference in further aphorisms, it has been very nicely explained that every individual medicine, even though it is dynamic, it produces when it has been given, it is a different stimulus for the healthy individual. So if you give a belladonna to the patient in the dynamic form, it will produce, the person will react to that belladonna stimulus in the belladonna manner. It will not react to the stimulus in the bryonia manner. It will not react to the stimulus of a belladonna in the calcarea manner. This is very important to understand. This is the differentiation of one remedy stimulus from the another remedy stimulus. So you must understand this, what is curative in the medicine. See what he says. What is curative in medicine? That is to say, in each individual medicine. प्रत्येक मेडिसिन मध्ये क्युरेटिव्ह काय आहे? So if you are reading the, we'll take a common example of a Nux vomica, and let us see what is curative in Nux vomica. What is that will going to cure a Nux vomica? Whether it is a Nux vomica and its primary action will produce something and make a cure. It is not like that. Nux vomica will not going to produce a primary action and cure or remove anything. It is not an antibiotic. It will kill the germs or bacilli. It is not like that. There is no medicine. There is no antibiotic in homeopathy. There is no anti-inflammatory in homeopathy. There is no anti-allergic in homeopathy. There is no immunosuppressant in homeopathy. That is not action. That is not a curative thing in the medicine. But if you want to understand then what is curative in medicine is nothing but you have to understand it from Allen's notes. At least from Allen's notes. Just a minute. At least from the Allen's notes, you have to understand sentence by sentence what is curative in Nux vomica. So you can find it over there, the sensitive Nux vomica or oversensitive Nux vomica to every external impression. It is the reaction which Nux vomica gives very acutely. It is the irritability of the Nux vomica. It is the ambitiousness of the Nux vomica. It is the activeness, alertness, vivaciousness of the Nux vomica. That is what is curative in Nux vomica. He is over ambitious for money as well as ambitious for the fame. Both things present at a time in Nux vomica. This is something which is Nux vomica. That is what you have to find it out from the patient. You have to match at that state level the remedy. And that is what is different. That is the individuality of Nux vomica. It is not acidity of Nux vomica. If it is the acidity of Nux vomica, you have to understand the acidity, how it happens, in what way it expresses at the location, sensation, modality, concomitant, all things that guides you to find it out a Nux vomica. So when you are thinking about medicine, you have to understand that medicine from this aspect, that what is curative in Nux vomica, that will going to cure the patient. So in every individual medicine, and then he has utilized again a sentence, knowledge of medicinal powers. He has not used the sentence that knowledge of medicines. There is a lot of difference between these two things. In first bracket he has written knowledge of disease, indication, two things. Here again he has explained two things. He has used two words, medicinal powers. It is not medicine. See, this is one must understand. You have to understand medicinal powers. So what he clearly explains over here is nothing but every medicine in a different potency in homeopathy is a different medicine. Every medicine in a different potency in homeopathy acts as a different medicine, because if a patient is brought to you with some disorder, for example, we'll take a simple example so you will understand that very easily. If a patient is brought to you with a severe fever blisters, fever blister is a herpes simplex in modern medicine. So it is a fever blister. In Marathi we called it as a शीन उभारलाय. शीन उभारणं असं मराठीत म्हटलं जातं. It happens because of over exertion number of times, and that's why it is called as शीन उभारणं. It is the exertional blister which happens to be there. And with modern medicine, we label it by the name of a fever blister, or it is also called as a herpes simplex. Patient comes to you, brought to you, and it is little bit burning over there around the mouth. And it happens generally, my observation, generally in damp weather it happens quite commonly. Person gets wet in the weather, wet in the rains, there is a rainy weather, and patient comes to you, doctor, see this, I am very much disturbed, there is a lot of burning, please do something, give me a medicine. You ask him to open the mouth, his tongue is right tip tongue. I have already discussed this topic when I have discussed the potency with you. So now here he comes and he asks you medicine, and your medicine is very clear. Yes, you have written over there, it is Restox. Now on the same day, another patient comes, and he comes in agony. He comes, doctor, please do something, I am very much disturbed, severe body ache since yesterday. I got wet in rains and I started getting body ache and fever and I could not sleep. I was just moving here and there. So please give me something very fast, because severe body ache, all joints are painful. I cannot sleep in one position. Again you ask him to open his mouth, and his tongue is red tipped. See, now the remedy is, you have the same remedy. Remedy is again Restox, because it is also started because in the damp weather, because of getting wet. But now both of them patients who are requiring Restox in a different potencies, because their state varies, because their requirement varies. One patient who is requiring a medicine very superficially around the mouth, that is what is called as a herpes simplex in modern medicine. Very superficial disease, a product of a exertion, product of a superficial, sometimes viral infection, and it produces its own effect over there. Now you will require a medicine which very low potency, because very superficial level you require a homeopathy or Restox. So you will require over there only the Restox in very low potency, sometimes 6C, sometimes even 12C. That much is sufficient. So this much is sufficient for the patient. Another patient where the problem lies more internally, bony level, joints level, at mental level, the restlessness, the agony, susceptibility is too high. Here you require a medicine in a very high potency in order to tackle that problem at that time. So here the same medicine you will require Restox, but you will require it in 10 potency. This is what is the understanding of Hahnemann while writing this knowledge of medicinal powers. It's very important to understand these things. If you understand, then you will think of utilizing the remedies in a proper way. There was a question asked by one of students that such and such practitioner utilizes it in only one potency. My dear friends, this is too important. When Hahnemann writes it, he has written it with a lot of thinking, and there is a concept of a susceptibility, concept of a miasm, concept of a constitution, everything we have to take into consideration when judging the potency. So every medicine in a different potency becomes a different remedy at that time. And regarding potency, I have already discussed, and those who have not attended that lecture, it is there on YouTube. You open that potency dilemma, 3 lectures are there. Go through that again, and then you will understand what I want to say exactly with this knowledge of medicinal powers. See, this is the importance of understanding the organon of medicine. So you can get exactly what Hahnemann wants to explain over there. See, every sentence, if you apply thoroughly with a practical aspect, with a clinical aspect, then you will understand that this organon is every time useful in your day-to-day homeopathic practice. In fact, you become very clear-cut practitioner of homeopathy, and then you can label yourself as a classical homeopath. Classical does not mean that how much classic you are. It depends on how much classical knowledge you have of the organon of medicine. And this is the beauty of organon. See, we have learned only two things. What we have learned? We have learned knowledge of disease, comma indication, knowledge of medicinal powers. Now we'll learn one more thing. See what he says, again a comma. See, this is too important. There is whole paragraph is one sentence. This method was there during Hahnemannian time. But here, every comma means it has a meaning. That part is a different part. First comma, it has a meaning. Second comma, it has a meaning. So you have to stop over there, understand that part, and then you have to go ahead. So we have understood first concept of knowledge of disease, comma indication. Then we have understood the knowledge of medicinal powers. And now we'll turn towards the third point. And what is third point? If he knows how to adapt according to clearly defined principles. See what is important. If he knows how to adapt, and there is a comma. What is adaptation? Adaptation is adapting the knowledge, understanding them, getting cleared about the concepts, about the cardinal principles, very thorough in adaptation. That is very important quality. This is another quality of a homeopathic physician. He should be able to adapt. If I am teaching and if you are not adapting it, it doesn't have meaning. So when you are learning the organon and cardinal principle, you must adapt them properly so that you can apply. If you don't adapt them, you cannot apply. This is what is needed. This is one more quality, that he should have a capacity to adapt. What to adapt? According to clearly defined principles. Kasha prakare? According to all clearly defined cardinal principles of homeopathy, which already we have discussed in length in previous lectures, all 7 cardinal principles. So according to them, according to clearly defined principles, what is curative in medicines to what he has discovered to be undoubtedly morbid in the patient. आता 2 गोष्टी त्याला कळल्या पाहिजेत. काय कळले पाहिजे? What one must understand? What is curative in medicines to what he has discovered to be undoubtedly morbid in the patient. Here you have to apply the knowledge of whatever knowledge about your medicines is there with the knowledge of a diseased patient. First you have to understand what is curable in the diseased patient and what is curable in your medicine. And if you are able to adapt that exactly on the basis of knowledge of cardinal principles, you can apply that at that level. Here you don't have to you don't have to treat a malaria. Here you don't have to treat a typhoid. Here you don't have to treat the COVID-19. Here you don't have to treat a dengue or any other disease by the name. Here you have to treat the sick individual, and where that sickness is hidden, that you have to find it out on the basis of indications, on the basis of individuality, on the basis of expressions of the individuals. And that is what you have to match from your remedy. Here you don't have to match what malaria and malaria, typhoid and typhoid. Here you don't have to match that appendicitis and appendicitis. If you are matching this, you are not homeopath, you are only allopaths. Even though you give homeopathic medicine on the basis of that, you are allopath because you are not using the cardinal principles of homeopathy. Hahnemann's concept of understanding this is very important. You have to understand a man behind the symptoms. You have to understand a man behind the diagnosis, and it is expressed through the indication. And same thing you have to match from the remedy so that that will act at the specifically internal level, at the level of dynamics. Because indications always comes as an expression of derangement of the internal vital force, and that derangement of vital force which happens at the dynamic level can be treated with the medicine which has the capacity to alter the dynamics at the same plane, at the same level, and then that remedy cures whether that patient is having cancer, whether that patient is having renal failure, whether that patient is having any damn pathology. If you are this curative parts of the disease and a medicine gets matched, if this matches at that level, then it works. And that's why he explains over there, if he knows how to adapt according to clearly defined principles what is curative in medicines to what he has discovered to be undoubtedly morbid in the patient, so that the recovery must ensue, then it is possible that recovery can happen. See, today we have learned the second aphorism. We have understood ideal cure, how the ideal cure can be. So everyone must think about the ideal cure at the level of thoughts and try to find it out a medicine for the patient which will work in that way, but it is not always in the similar manner. That also one must know. And thereafter we have learned the third aphorism, or in fact not learned, we have started learning the third aphorism. And see, we have finished only the 3 points up till now. This is what is organon is. If you are able to understand the organon in the first year in this manner, I am quite sure you will not go or turn towards the allopathy. You will definitely go on the path of homeopathy if you understand these things in a clear manner. And this is what is I expect from my students of homeopathy. They should adapt organon properly. And organon is not a boring subject. Organon is definitely very interesting subject. I am quite sure about it now. And you are also quite sure that you are waiting for me at 2:30, and every time I make a century. So today also there is a century. There are a number of people who are watching and observing our live presentation. One more interesting thing I want to tell you over here. There are certain people who are not homeopaths. They are watching my presentation and they are asking me questions on homeopathy. One of the friend of mine who is in fact builder, who is a businessman, daily he used to sit over there for whole 1 hour. He listens and he asks me, and he has written very good comments over there. In fact, homeopathic philosophy is nothing but the human philosophy. If you understand philosophy in this manner, definitely you will understand that you are understanding human being, and it is very interesting for every human being. So today we'll conclude over here, and again for all of you, I have to make a request. Be there on our YouTube channel, subscribe channel, listen all the videos again, so that you can your concepts will get cleared and cleared. The channel name is Dr. Prasad Rasa, the Divine School of Homeopathy. And then definitely I am quite sure you will understand homeopathy in a better manner. So that's a request to conclude the things. Tomorrow we'll meet at the same time, in the same place with the same aphorism. I think tomorrow we might finish third and fourth, that if possible the fourth, because again on fifth we have to be nearly about takes 4-5 lectures to understand the fifth aphorism. So till that period, for tomorrow, you must work hard again on the cardinal principles of homeopathy and all those aphorisms. For newcomers, it's very interesting. I know that there should be a questions from on your part, and there should be a reply. I'm not getting reply how the things are going on in the groups. I expect that those who are attending or even watching videos, they should reply what do you feel and what do you expect. So we'll stop over here. Thank you very much to all of the students and all of the practitioners over there. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time, 2:30. Thank you.